Father have informed Matchroom, the Association of Boxing Commissions and the British Boxing Board of Control that Dillian Whyte has returned adverse analytical findings as part of a random anti-doping protocol. Therefore, the fight's been cancelled and a full investigation will be conducted. Just your thoughts on that, Michael, initially, because obviously you'll know your thoughts. How will AJ be feeling after this?
I mean, 3 strikes you're out. I mean, we've crucified some people, some fighters for popping one time, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And Dillian should be no different, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the situation is, but, to be caught 3 times and, just to paint the narrative that they do, you know what I'm saying? It's bad for boxing.
And as you guys can see, those are the words of Micheal Bounty Hunter. Michael Hunter, of course, was one of the major sparring partners of Anthony Joshua's camp in preparation of Dillian Whyte. And he was like, 3 strikes and you're out. You're a cheat. It's a bad look. It's bad for the fans. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about is he mentioned, other fighters are crucified for popping dirty one time. Okay. And Dillian shouldn't be any different. And I want to talk about the narratives that people paint. And let me counterpunch. Dillian Whyte I think he was in mixed martial arts before boxing. And he tested positive there. For whatever, I forget what it is. I don't remember. Then in 2019, after fighting Oscar Rivas, knowing that they already had an adverse finding, okay, this is the same shit. They let that fight and allowed that fight to happen. And I think Eddie Hearn helped that fight move along until they found a B sample or whatever it is, and the fight happened. And I think the person that suffered was Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas was the fighter that didn't know anything, him or his camp, and I thought that was totally wrong. Well, that same year earlier, Jarrell Miller got caught with 3 different drugs in his system, on that drug test finding. And the weird thing was, a lot of people did smear him smeared his face all in the mud. Now when Dillian Whyte got tested, it was supposed to have been a little different. It's supposed to have been a contaminated sample or whatever the case is. But it did look bad, okay? Because people looked at that as, what's the difference between him and all these other guys that test positive and have no problems, right? Okay. Then we had the Conor Benn situation. It just really is getting finalized now, okay, like as of last week. And that was a big shit show. And then Eddie was involved. So I think at this point, Eddie was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get out of this one. Okay. Now back to these narrative paintings. It's like, okay, Conor Benn, you fought for him. You fought for Dillian Whyte. Jarrell Miller, you ran him under the bus. Canelo Alvarez, you ran him under the bus. Eddie Hearn did that. He did do that. He wasn't promoting Canelo at that time. You know what I mean? And he had a lot of shit to say about Canelo. And then, needless to say, a few years later, he was working with him. So I guess Canelo didn't take that personally, or he never heard it. But it was a good point by Michael Hunter, because Michael Hunter knows that, like, hey, some people, get the shitty end of the stick. Some people get seen in a totally different light for doing the same thing. For doing the same thing, that they get looked at in like totally different. And that's the problem, the inconsistency of what people do versus the actions and how people react to it. Now, it's sad or whatever, but it does look bad. Also in this interview, Michael Hunter was talking about, standing in for Dillian. And I don't like that look because it's like, okay, anybody but you, because you pretty much know what we're working on. You know what our game plan is. Why the fuck would he do that? I wouldn't do that at all, because Michael Hunter would be, first of all, he's already a very good boxer. Okay, he's one of those guys you don't want to fight because he's pretty much, except for the Jerry Forrest fight, he looked like shit. But besides that, he is a guy that is a very underrated boxer. Very underrated. And those very underrated fighters are very dangerous. You better ask Andy Ruiz, right? You better ask him, because he was the same way. You know, a lot of people didn't look at him, didn't give him a chance. They just threw him in there with AJ and threw caution to the wind. Okay? And the wind came with a tornado. And that tornado carried a left hook from the gods. Right? So, yeah, Michael Hunter will be a definite no. Hell no. You know what I mean? That's like already a smart person with a cheat sheet. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that would be very dumb. Put me in. Now, I would be happy for Michael to get that money. I'm for all fighters getting that bag and keeping that bag, saving that bag, or investing that bag to get more money later on, because a lot of boxers are broke. But besides that, ethically, right, is wrong. And I wouldn't want that. No, absolutely not. Now, other fighters, yeah, we'll talk about that in another video, but no, I wouldn't like that. You know, it makes me think of Lou Del Valle, and Lou Del Valle was sparred with Roy Jones, and then found out he wanted to fight him, and he was like the first guy to knock Roy Jones Jr. down. So, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't agree with that, but I do agree with what Michael Hunter had to say. If Dillian Whyte tested positive for something, he's responsible for what he puts in his body. I will go live later to talk more in depth on that. You guys tell me what you think of Michael Hunter and his comment concerning Dillian Whyte's adverse finding. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!